Birthdays are like overexcited neighbors. You either appreciate their intrusions or avoid them like Homer Simpson does Ned Flanders. I treat birthdays like Flanders. I love a good party, cake, and a sing-song version of Happy Birthday. But I'm slow to allow the spotlight to turn squarely onto my face. A strange confession for a guy with a podcast. But I do love the birthday questions. Hey everyone, it's Paul, and this is Contemplify, where we seek to kindle the examined life for contemplatives in the world. In this episode, I'll share the birthday questions and respond to them since, well, it's my birthday. Wait, did you forget to send me a birthday present? Well, send a little love my way by rating and reviewing Contemplify on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, you can go to contemplify.com for more information on each episode and to sign up for Contemplify's monthly non-required reading list. Thanks to all who do. I think you'll enjoy it if this is your first time. On to the birthday questions. My favorite way to celebrate a friend on their birthday is to ask the birthday questions. These are questions I learned from a colleague at a college I used to work at more than a decade ago. They are simple in form, but openly endless in possibilities for depth. What did you learn this past year? And what do you hope to learn in this next year? The reason these questions trip out of my mouth so easily on a birthday is because, holy smokes, we are celebrating the day a person left the warm cocoon of mama's womb to wail their way into the world, waiting to wound them with love and hopefully, someday, gift them with a root beer float. The sheer fact that you are here, celebrating the day you enter the world, is kind of magic. You learn a lot by a person, how they respond to, what did you learn this past year? Do they share existential anguish, or how they have grown, or a new skill they have been mastering? So, I'll hum happy birthday to myself, and then respond to this first birthday question. What did you learn this past year? Okay, so it'll be helpful for me to name a few things that happened this past year. First and foremost, Laura and I had our second kid. Beautiful baby boy, sitting right here next to me, who shuns sleep, smiles big, and whose most comforting blankie is his mama's hair. My body was run amok amidst the sleepless nights with the same beautiful baby boy. Tiredness has ruled the day and putting a foggy hue on my relationship with myself and reality. I also walked down a Zen tunnel holding hands with Meister Eckhart for much of this summer. So, dividing into what I have learned with these pillars as guideposts for my Spitfire responses. So the first thing I want to explore that I've learned this past year, that there are layers to the love I am experiencing from my wife that I hadn't previously thought possible. It's almost like I was scratching a ground floor or a basement of my love and broke through to a much deeper layer below. I don't know exactly when, but I fell ass over heels deeper in love with my wife again this year. And it brings me to the edge of what I think I can bear in love. I have relearned this lesson that love, if attended to, can hold your attention in such a way that enlarges your heart so you can relate differently, whether in egoic fights, making love, or simply watching her move across the house. It is my deepest prayer that my love and gratitude for Laura in marriage and life always outweigh the decision points, the disagreements, and the stress of the absurdity of this life. Secondly, I have relearned and relearned that ways in which dominant culture perpetuates racism, inequality, and violent fear. This came to the forefront for me this year. The barnacles of oppression are encrusted to this American vessel, but scapegoats are ways for me to be distracted. I had a number of experiences this past year that have taught me about how I'm unconsciously participating in white dominant culture. My seat at the head of the table for American power is structured around my gender, sexuality, and skin color. It's all a given. I have a long way to go in understanding this and embodying the question, how then shall I live? But I feel the shifts within, and the work is long and hard ahead. But it is something that we can only do together, and I'm committed to showing up. Another thing I have learned this year is that I can't shake nothing from my being. I am called to nothing, out of nothing, and in that nothingness I am found. My brothers Thomas Merton and Meister Eckhart have been nurturing this call towards an empty pocket approach to God. and my Zen brothers and sisters are quick-witted enough to slap attention to my face. As Roshi Jiju Kennett said, if you're afraid of being grabbed by God, don't look at a wall. Definitely don't sit still. In an age of chaotic busyness and clinging for meaning, becoming nothing may be the greatest act of all. And as I finish this bite of birthday cake, the second birthday question arises. What do I hope to learn in this next year? My intentions for this next year appear mundane in practice, but have implications for slight carvings in the interior landscape that I hope will allow a new flow to emerge. First up, I intend to learn how to take better care of this body of mine. Family and work life have filled my days to the brim. Until I'm able to relent some other activities and stretch my running legs again, I'm going to lean into the space I have at hand. I feel sheepish even about saying it aloud, but I'm committing to 40 push-ups a day until I turn 40 next year. I have a couple of recurring dreams that suddenly merged into the same dream this past week. It was very trippy and elusive. And for the majority of you who immediately fall asleep upon hearing someone speak of their dreams, please enjoy the nap or skip this yammering. The two dreams are in entirely different color schemes. One is life with undue responsibility in a muted gray, and the other is in the wilds of the ocean with the brightest hues of orange and blue that I've ever seen. The drab scene is static, like a comic strip that goes nowhere, and the other is a blissful state of belonging. These dreams have shown up over the last year on their own, but have joined forces to grab my attention in their mysterious messages. As my old pal Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. I am currently living with the details of the sensations, connections, and what have yous that accompany this dream. My soul seems to be ringing the bell of attention, and I know not yet what it is calling me towards. The moments of my week that resonate most deeply are out in nature with my band of merry pranksters. When our little family finds its way to a wide-open park with towering trees shadowing us from the New Mexico sun, I feel free. I watch my daughter run, duck, skip, and tumble, and my baby boy crawl, dig, and taste whatever is in his path. Or when we dip into the bosque and dip our toes into the Rio and explore the terrain beneath the cottonwoods. And when the perfect moment aligns and we are hiking in the mesas or mountains, with the reckless joy and alignment of our natural creatureliness, I want more of that unbounded playfulness in the landscape around my home. What does it mean to be a contemplative in climate crisis? This question burns my lips as I repeat it over and over and over again. I am haunted by this courageous invitation to live into an answer. I plan to do more musings like this on Contemplify. I know that I will continue to seek interviews with contemplatives in the world, and yet these personal explorations of the intersections of contemplation in the midst of daily family life has helped clarify and shape the directions of my wandering journey. I've heard from so many of you that these types of musings allow you to reorientate your own contemplative journey. And that is what excites me, that these are practical, that they have an impact, that the small, the appreciative, the difficult, the moments that are bursting forth through our lives are the quiet eruptions of God in the mundane. I know that commitment to offer further contemplative musings will fling open windows that I thought were painted shut. It also slightly terrifies me to share the unrefined musings of my heart, but the edge of my heart calls me on. I have other areas of growth that I am looking forward to tending to, like continued attention to the life as a husband, father, friend, and colleague. But I have a hunch you'll hear a lot more about these roles in light of the contemplative musing commitment here on Contemplify for future episodes. And I hope that as your birthday rolls around, or those near to you, that you relay and experiment with the birthday questions. What did you learn this past year, and what do you hope to learn in this next year? For me, it's been a delightful way to take another step in vulnerability with myself, my soul, and my community. It also doesn't hurt to have a hoppy IPA in the mix to refresh the memory and harness the spirit. Thanks for listening to this episode of Contemplify on the birthday questions. As always, you can head over to contemplify.com for the show notes and to sign up for the Contemplify monthly non-required reading list. A big tip of the hat to Charles Enns and Darren Hovius for providing the music for Contemplify. This song is called Blankside. And thanks to all of you for being a part of Contemplify. It warms this heart of mine to be connected with all of you in this contemplative way. Until next time, be well.